YouTube messes up a lot, and it messes up on a lot of different fronts. And I'm sure those of you watching this video are no stranger to the idea that's been spread around over the years that we need a replacement YouTube. We need a new YouTube, a YouTube that favors content creators on their channel, on their website, as opposed to like corporations or TV shows. We need a replacement website that doesn't mess up all the time and has all these different crashes and stuff like that. A website that doesn't have a AI system that tracks down what should be demonetized or not, or copyright that gets abused to the max. And a website that caters, or a website that protects free speech. These are all criticisms that have been weighed against YouTube. And there have been attempts, but I want to talk about something that nobody... Well, it might be talked about somewhere, but I haven't really seen anyone talk about it. I've seen people say, we need to make our own YouTube, or seen people say that we need to make, advertise a new alternative to YouTube and stuff like that. But there's one issue that I want to talk about that I personally haven't seen brought up too often. And it kind of ironically relates to Best Guy Ever, who I totally didn't mean to have in the frame for this video, but he's there now. I was watching his video, one of his older videos, and just in the middle of it, I got motivated to do a video. I honestly forgot he was right there. But Best Guy Ever recently uploaded on BitChute. Now, BitChute has been advertised as a sort of alternative to YouTube that values free speech. And BitChute shouted him out because he was a huge creator in terms of their service, their website, so they were sort of supporting their creators. Here's the thing with stuff like BitChute. Because of how YouTube works, people who are being kicked out or marginalized or what have you by YouTube, when an opening shows up to become an alternative, they are going to go, jump ship and go to that platform, which makes sense. The website's treating them in particular poorly, so they want to hop over to the next website that values free speech that won't censor them. So, following that train of thought, let's think about some of the people who've been shadow banned, outright banned, or demonetized or what have you by YouTube. I won't say most, but a lot of it is political commentators, specifically political commentators on the right wing of the spectrum. And this isn't a political video. I am never going to say in this video, if a side is good or bad. That's not the intention of the video. But we're just following the logic here. We can agree that people like Sargon of Akkad, Stefan Molyneux, if that's how you pronounce it, Alex Jones, they're being pushed out of the platform by YouTube. Although you can make the argument that the YouTube algorithm does steer people towards those videos frequentally. But regardless, there is certainly a crackdown on these sorts of people, especially after the hashtag Vox Adpocalypse. So when a free speech platform that's trying to be an alternative to YouTube comes along, those people are going to be the first settlers, the first colonizers who are going to jump from YouTube and colonize this new website. Now, if you want to make an alternative to YouTube, people are doing content on YouTube because they can reach a wide audience and because they can get paid. YouTube provides a platform where you can have both of those. You can reach a wide audience and you can get paid. Now, take a platform like BitChute. The first people who are going to make videos over there are those who were pushed out of the platform by YouTube. And those being pushed out of the platform can include some pretty fringe elements. When your whole foundation of your website is being free speech, the fringe that aren't allowed to be on certain areas are going to be attracted to it. You know, like magnetized metal to a magnet. So what results is, when I opened up BitChute recently, I took a look at the front page and there's an audio book of Mein Kampf. Now don't get me wrong, I've read Mein Kampf twice, but the point I'm trying to make here is that a normal person let's say a normal person hears about BitChute as an alternative to YouTube. And they're like, yeah, I've heard about, my content creators like PewDiePie being kicked, like YouTube not treating PewDiePie well, or all my favorite channels are being demonetized. So let me check out this new alternative to YouTube and see if that's going to be a viable option. And this normal person opens up BitChute and then finds Mein Kampf on the front page. And for a lot of people, seeing content like Mein Kampf and videos like explaining the Jewish question and stuff like that, for most people they're going to say, well, I'm not going to this website again, and they sort of flee. So, because the front page is going to be a lot of political stuff, and a good bit of that stuff is going to be fringe content, and most of it's going to be on the same side of the political spectrum. So that's already about half the world that's going to see that and go, half the world's either going to look at it and go, I don't think so, or be outright disgusted. So, what's the consequence of that? Well, when you aren't getting a mass audience, you're not going to be able to reach the most amount of people, because you don't have, everyone uses YouTube. Regardless of your background, ideas, whatever. Everyone uses YouTube. But stuff like BitChute can only really cultivate a certain group, a certain, what's the word I'm looking for? Portion? A certain range, I guess, of people. But not the full range like YouTube can do. Now, what's the consequence of that? Well, already we've dashed the one reason why people use YouTube. You can't reach a wider audience. Reason number 2, if your content is curtailed, is curated for that sort of range, then you're probably going to do great on BitChute. But if you're like most YouTubers who are just trying to reach a general audience, BitChute might not work that way for you, as much as YouTube could. Second is being paid, monetization. And for BitChute, as I understand it, you get paid through donations, because advertisers aren't going to want to run ads on a website that has Mein Kampf on it, or on the front page. YouTube has Mein Kampf on it, but advertisers are not going to run ads on there. Also, it isn't reaching the general audience. Let's say if BitChute had Mein Kampf on the front page, but also had a general wide audience like YouTube does, then sure, there'd be ads. But although there'll probably be some backlash against it. But donations. Now, for someone like me who has to be very choosy and frugal with my money and where I spend it, I cannot comprehend donations to online content creators. I don't understand Patreon. I don't understand people who donate to people on streams. I just don't get that. I don't understand why you give your money out to these people. And you might say, oh, I want to support this content creator that I like. That content creator is going to be doing it with or without your donations. Someone else will donate, at least. I don't understand the mentality of someone who donates to a content creator. I just wasn't raised in that sort of free money environment. So donations they're kind of hard to come by. You get donations sort of after you reach an audience. So let's say you're a small content creator and you want to try to grow on something like BitChute. Well, you're best to migrate to a website that's not YouTube after you've gotten your sizable audience. And even then, only maybe 1 to 10 at the most % of your audience is going to follow you over to this alternative YouTube. So I can understand, I think donations are an unstable form of income, but then again, so are ads. the thing is, I can understand the concept of, I click this tick box and now there are ads on my video. I can understand that concept. I don't understand the concept that you just sit there and hope someone donates to you. But, that's just me. So, monetization really only favors people with really big audiences, who pretty much had to build it outside of BitChute and go to BitChute. And then, reaching the audience, you're not going to reach a wide audience on BitChute. These two arguments aren't just for BitChute. It really applies to most YouTube alternatives. The closest I've ever seen a YouTube alternative come to reaching the advertiser point and developing a whole audience that's not just political stuff, the closest I've ever seen that happen is vid.me. Vid.me was a YouTube alternative that fairly worked. There were some limitations, but I thought vid.me was like the only real chance there was at beating YouTube. For some reason, it didn't really get as political as places like BitChute did. But VidMe had that audience, and it either had the option to monetize your content through advertisers, or was working on getting that. But then VidMe shut down because I think it was too expensive to keep the site running. It was like running at a loss, and so vid.me was lost to the ages. And vid.me, I think, was the closest we came to a proper YouTube replacement. So when people are talking about making an alternative to YouTube, my number one question is, okay, how are you going to avoid what I guess I'm going to coin the BitChute problem? The problem of not being able to get advertisements or reach a wider audience due to how YouTube alternatives are colonized, I guess is the word, by content creators. Because, again, really only a specific range of content creators start the production of content on alternatives like that, because they really have no other option. So, I don't know, I just wanted to get my word out on that. I guess how I would do it, the only way I can see a YouTube alternative working, besides the miracle that vid.me was, would be to organize a mass migration from YouTube to this website. Before it gets politicized, before you only cultivate that specific range. I think PewDiePie moving to an alternative YouTube would do wonders for that alternative YouTube. It's just, will PewDiePie ever do that, you know? And maybe he will if they push him too far. But I think PewDiePie is more likely to just quit before moving to another website. Now, in Japan, they have Nico Nico Doga, which is their sort of version of YouTube. And, I believe you could earn money off of Nico Nico Doga videos, because there were, like, professional Nico Nico Doga-ers. But the Japanese video makers on Nico Nico Doga, about 2 years ago, have migrated to YouTube, because YouTube provides them with a larger audience and more monetizable opportunities. Now, keep in mind, most of Japanese YouTube kind of falls into the spectrum of kid-friendly that YouTube wants. They typically do reviews, toy reviews, food, stuff like that. They're definitely family-friendly. The only Japanese YouTuber I really see who doesn't really do family-friendly stuff are typically people who can speak English and watch the English-speaking YouTube side of YouTube, because the English-speaking side of YouTube is 100% better than anything Japan YouTube's got. And Japanese YouTubers tend to be detached. Their videos are about what they're doing and not them themselves, unlike English-speaking YouTubers. But they're moving from Nico Nico Doga to YouTube. So that's something, I guess, to think about. Yeah. Does anyone else recognize this as a problem with making an alternative YouTube? Because I certainly think it's a problem, but yeah. I think that's all I have to say on that.